Holding the number 2 pick with the draft hours away, news began to get out that Klay Thompson had suffered a lower leg injury playing pickup in Los Angeles. Thompson missed all of last season with an ACL injury suffered in the finals against Toronto. Imagine the scrambling in the Warriors' war room as that plays out. You're trying to get a handle on what you're going to have to work with as the season begins in a month. We're expecting to hear from Bob Myers shortly with an update on Thompson. We welcome in Marc Spears from The Undefeated to update this situation. Marc, what can you tell us about the circumstances that surrounded it and the fear of the severity from the Warriors' standpoint?
Well, it was just supposed to be an easy day of playing some pickup ball with Klay Thompson. He was playing against the likes of Christian Wood and Miles Turner at a downtown Los Angeles gym. And then, boom, sounds like he potentially tore his Achilles tendon. Somebody that saw him told me he sat in the corner for a while, dismayed, put some ice on it, and eventually he was helped out of the gym. He could not walk at his own power, and there were certainly a lot of fears there that Klay, who has certainly had a very rough stint of injuries of late, tearing his other leg and his knee, now potentially has a torn Achilles tendon too.
So Golden State is processing this in real time. I mean, for us, it's just something you see on Twitter and you think, damn, that's a shame given what just happened. But here's an organization trying to figure out what to do in the short and in the long term. Marc, did that in any way impact what they chose to do on the draft Wednesday night?
I was told by a Warriors employee they're going to take the best player on the board. And I think all along that they thought the best player on the board for James Wiseman. He certainly fits a need at center. I think this kid is super talented. I was told by a scout that he's a combination of David Robinson and Chris Bosh, which is saying a lot. So, remember the Warriors still have that $17 million trade exception that they could use, but it's going to be really hard to replace a Klay Thompson.
No, there's no replacing him. He's on the very short list of the best shooters on planet Earth, and obviously that changes who they will be. Marc, as always, appreciate the time. The Spencer Haywood rule shows up in the mail. I look forward to digging in, and it's a flex when you can put your book on the shelf behind you on the shoulder. Everybody go get that, Marc. I appreciate the time, man.
Thank you, sir.
All right, the Klay Thompson injury is a significant blow, clearly, but just how impactful do you feel like this ultimately is, and maybe not just for the Warriors, Brian?
Oh, man, I mean, first off, let's just hope there is some glimmer of optimism, coming from the Warriors. They're hoping that the imaging tomorrow will not show the dreaded full tear, but they are now stuck with a huge decision on their $17 million trade exception. How do they evaluate this season if they learn tomorrow that Klay is going to miss a majority or all of it? Do they pivot and use that $17 million and maybe go after some sort of replacement player like a Kelly Oubre? Or do they take their foot off the gas a little bit in a highly competitive West and spin the wheels again? And this is not something that they were prepared for. They were prepared for all out. And the one thing I will say, and we'll learn more in the coming days about this, the sped up start to the season forced some players who were not on the timeline to begin playing in December to speed up their timeline. Klay Thompson, even though he's over a year off that ACL, when the Warriors had their training camp in the fall, that 2-week training camp, he was not full go. He was in Los Angeles playing in these games, ramping up to get ready for the start of this season. And I just worry that he may have ramped up too fast. So we'll hope for good imaging and we'll hope for a good outcome.
Man, that's such a bummer on so many fronts, but if I can frame it this way, Golden State at least is coming off this remarkable run where if you're going to have 2 years where you say take your foot off the gas, you only get so long of a window, but at least in their case, they're coming off this remarkable run. But there's really no positive way to spin where we sit right now with this news. Just a profound bummer from, I think, everybody's perspective that covers the league. Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.